Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book, another one, your favorite dating and relationship coach. We're giving you guys a part two of the conversation of Muni Long and the divorce from her husband. They're not yet divorced, they are separated, which is really good because it means they got time to fix this. We're going to give you some solutions as to how to fix this because I think there's a way to save this particular marriage. Now, the biggest problem that they have right now is Muni Long told us that she feels like her husband right now is a little bit of a hater. Okay, putting it shortly, she said, "Listen, I want to be honest with you. He's got too much negativity. Okay, if she feels like she's gonna have to leave him behind in order to grow, and she feels like she just want to put her life on hold and put her passion on hold and wait for him to catch up. That's the biggest issue they have right now. Okay, so we're going to discuss this because this requires a twofold approach, meaning it requires both of them to be a participant in order for this particular solution to come to the table. Because it's not just from one side, right? They both are an issue. They both have done some things which are going to contribute towards a downfall of this relationship. But she has given us a perspective, an idea of what's happening. So if you want to know the solutions that are going to come to the table, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. I can promise you it's going to be worth the wait for you guys as well. And I hope you guys are loving these breakdowns that I am doing for these couples and relationships. If there is couples that you want me to do, please leave a comment down below and I will try to look at the couples and then try to bring a breakdown for you guys as well. Okay. All right. Let's get deep into this one and let's have a conversation. So as she said, the problem that you're having is that she feels like her passion, she doesn't want to leave it behind. She feels like, you know what, she doesn't want to stop her progress. She feels like her husband, is not being happy for her. It just seems like everything that he's doing is an issue, but it actually is on two sides here. So I'm going to break down the solution. Okay. Here is a clear cut solution. Number one, there must be a validation of emotions. But even before that point, number one, having a conversation about how we feel is critically done when we're not emotionally aroused. Okay. So let's choose a date, a time, or whatever type of conversation. Let's not be not so vexed in the conversation or whatever. Let's choose a time where we're both much more calmer and we can have this conversation. Because otherwise, it's going to be a mad one. Do you know what I'm saying to you? It'll be a mad one. Number two is validate each other's feelings. How do we validate each other's feelings? Well, the way to validate each other's feelings is first to acknowledge why they feel that way, or at least acknowledge that they feel that you can understand why they feel that way. So, for instance, she may feel like, you know what, she's been slowed down. She feels like he's an EOP, enemy of progress. She may feel like, you know what, that he's not supporting her. So, what's his validation? Hey, you know what? By what you've described, I can really see how you may feel like I'm not supporting you. I'm not cheering you. I'm not fighting for you, okay? And I'm not really backing you. Remember, validation of feelings does not mean that's the absolute truth. It means that's how they feel. And we don't start arguing about how you feel because it's a waste of time, because it's about how the person feels. It's generally their own feeling. You can't fight the feeling. Can't fight the feeling. You can't fight it. So we don't argue and waste time on feelings. We talk about when we're talking about what we want to see and change. That's where we can start to negotiate. Don't negotiate on someone's feelings. It's a waste of time. So she feels like he's not supporting her. He should say, I can see it, I can understand it, I'm hearing what you're saying. And in the same version, he may have his own thought process, which is, I'm not actually hating on you. Right? He may feel like, you know what? I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. And she has to go, look, you know what? Maybe she would be like, hey, you know what? I hear you. I understand that you're not necessarily trying to hate on me. I can see that you are trying to support me. You have been with me for the last 9 years. I understand where you're coming from. Right. And that's boom. Validation of feelings done out the window. Now, I like to use what we call a CBEC, but it's BEC, but it's CBEC, which means complement, behavior, explanation, emotion, and change. And then the final underneath it all is negotiation, because we want to negotiate some of these things, right? Okay. Now, this is really intriguing. So here is a compliment. He can be like, listen, babe, you've been killing it for the last few years. Like, I've seen you go from height to height, from level to level. I love the fact you're an amazing wife. I love the fact that you're great in your work. I love the fact that you're killing it, right? Compliment. She can then be like, you know what, I love the fact that you love me so much. I love the fact we've been together for 9 years. You've supported me in certain things. Da 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 da. You've had my back in a lot of things. I appreciate it. Compliment done. Now we're going to go into the BEC, the behavior, explanation, and change. This is really vital. because now we want to be able to break it down to the other person in terms of what's happening. We put the B and the E together, behavior and the emotion together. There's an extra part of this. When we do the explanation, we actually explain what happens to our own behavior when we witness certain things. And I'll explain this in the conversation. You'll hear what I'm going to say. So, for instance, from her perspective, she might say behavior. She might say, hubby, what's his name? Is it Kirsten? Is it Hairston? Hairston, when you said Heston, when you didn't turn up for this particular show, or you said something, right? This particular thing, right? I interpreted it as you not supporting me. Okay. Last week, when I said I had a show, your face to me looked like you were not happy about the fact that I had a show. So I interpreted it as you don't support me based upon some of these behaviors that I've seen in the past. I interpreted it as you don't support me. And so that's the behavior. That makes me feel, you see how the E's coming in? That makes me feel like you don't care for me, you don't appreciate me, you don't want to see me win. It makes me feel like I don't have a teammate and a lover. It makes me feel like I have a devil in my background. I probably don't say devil because that might be a little bit heavy, but it makes me feel like I have somebody who's working against me rather than with me. It makes me feel like you're not happy for my success. And that makes me feel like I'm not really part of a team. That makes me feel isolated. That makes me feel alone. That makes me feel sad. That makes me feel like I'm grieving the relationship and grieving what we've had, right? Use your emotional will. You guys know I love emotional will. Okay? That makes me feel these things, right? And when I feel those things, then I don't want to love you. I don't want to spend time with you. I don't want to be around you. I want to spend more time in the office because I feel like you're not really with me as a team. Behavior, explanation, emotions. See how the end of it, I said about how her behavior also is impacted. She now tells you why she does this thing. Now we got to flip it, because now he's got to also let us know her behavior and explanation. He might say this. Well, you might say this. Again, when you're working these long hours and you are spending more time away from home, right? Especially in the last few weeks, you spent so many hours away from home, and you spent so much time doing your records and da da da. And I understand that, but you spend a lot of time away from him. Okay, it makes me feel like I'm not being cared for. It makes me feel like I'm not being appreciated. It makes me feel like I'm not wanted. It makes me feel like you care about your career more than you care about me. But notice how I keep saying I feel, because your feelings doesn't mean it's actually truth. It's how you feel. I'm just letting you know this is how I feel. And so I feel these ways when you do what you do. So see the reason why is because we need to put a meaning on the behavior, because the reason why he's acting is because he has a meaning on the behavior. And so once he says, you know what, it makes me feel this way, then when I'm hearing about more news that you're climbing up the ladder, I'm not excited. I do have a face. Okay, because I'm thinking about the future, and I'm thinking to myself, so when will we spend time together? I'm thinking about myself, if you get bigger and bigger, will you be able to love me and care about me? He may even be even truthful. He might say, look, can I be honest with you? I am feeling a little bit jealous. And there is nothing wrong with jealousy, you know. There's nothing wrong with jealousy. It's a message. Oh, let me tell you something. Emotions are a message. We don't stop the flow of emotions. We only honor them to understand what's going on within us. So me feeling like I'm jealous is not to say it's a bad thing. My action out of jealousy is a bad thing, potentially. So I do feel jealous. And jealousy, what it does, is meant to tell you, look internally, because something's not quite with you. That's why you feel jealous right now. And I do feel jealous because I realize that maybe I'm not where I need to be. And so when I see you climbing, I'm actually focused on me. I'm more scared about the fact that I'm not getting what I need to get. And so I feel like maybe I'm pulling you back a little bit, or maybe I'm holding you back a little bit, or I feel like maybe I'm doing those things. See how the honesty comes out and it brings out the truth, but it brings freedom. So yes, there are times where I'm not very happy. My behavior shows that I'm not very interested, or I don't come to a show. Yes, I'm sorry about that. It's because I feel like I'm not being appreciated also. Right? See the meaning he's applied to it. Now, some of you might be saying, how can he be feel like that? Da, 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 da. Stop. We feel how we feel. We're meant to validate that. Okay? Before you run off, Okay. Now here's a C, because a C is a change. What do we want to see changed? I ain't got no damn water. Okay. What do we want to see changed? Well, what we want to see is a change. So what she's going to say is, hey, look, in future, I would like you to open up more so that I can understand where you're coming from. So I don't feel like so I don't feel like I got an enemy in my corner. In future, let me know if you're feeling jealousy or feeling envious or feeling like I'm not supporting you too, ahead of time, so that we can start working on how we're going to move forward, or how I can help that process, or how I can help you, not feel that kind of feelings. It may also be that saying, hey, I want your support in future. I want to see you at my shows. I want to see you at my recording studios. I want to come home and tell you that I've just got a new record deal, or I've got new bosses on my line, without feeling like you're not happy for me, right? That's what she wants to see as a change. And he can say, hey, I definitely hear it. I also want to see that, we get to spend more time together, or that, you're not going to prioritize your career over me, and that your career will overtake the relationship and you'll forget about me. And so how that looks is, I want to spend more time doing things that we love doing and enjoying. I want to spend more time with you. Now, don't just say you want to see her at home, my guy. Okay. What do you want to see? You understand? Make her do something. You understand? Make her do something. You get what I'm saying to you? Get make her do something. So he also wants to see that perspective as well, right? Which is really important. Okay. That's really important. And so now we've got this, now we've got both people saying their agendas of what they want. Now it may clash. Him saying he wants to see more of her, she may be like, but I've got him in the studio, I've got studio time. Okay, so now we've got a negotiation. He wants to see her. She's thinking about she has to spend more time in the studio to make sure she's going to become how she's going to become. How do we negotiate this point? Well, first and foremost, be very clear what your needs are. He wants to spend more time. She wants more time in the studio. Okay, cool. Now, we now need to be able to say, okay, negotiating is all about our needs being met, not necessarily saying I'm going to do less of, but more of what my needs are. So what a negotiation could be here in this instance between Muni and him is that, okay, in order to make you feel like I'm in the space, let's plan some. He might say, listen, let's plan some dates so that we can actually spend time together, right? Let's plan some dates. This is a good negotiation. Let's plan some dates that mean quality time is spent. And what do you want to do? Do you want to go out? Do you want to sit in and watch TV? Do you want to go to different shows? Do you want to go and watch something? What do you want to do? Be very clear and descriptive, because now that person can begin to say, okay, I can do that, or I can't do that. So it may not be that she has to spend less time in the studio. It may be that actually the quality time they're spending isn't quality. Or it could be when you say you finish the studio at 9, okay, and you finish at 2 a.m., it's too long. If you say you finish at 9, finish at 9, right? And if she might say, listen, okay, if I say I'm going to come at 9, I'll come home at 9, right? Do you know what I'm saying to you? Or I'll message you to let you know that I'm going to stay over, but I can't stay over more than 2 times a week. I can't stay longer than my time allotted that I said I would stay more than 2 times a week, whatever. Yeah? So whatever it is, we're negotiating so that people can meet their needs. She needs to spend time in the studios and win her awards and the Grammys. He needs more time with her, right? So that he doesn't become a hater. The reality of the situation is, first and foremost, everybody needs to be honest about what the behavior means to them. Are you being honest about what the behavior means to you? Now, if this is something that resonates with you, I want you guys to message me in the chat, in the comment section. Put something there. If you think there's couples you want me to review, I'll review them. But if you're going through something like this right now, I only have a few slots in my coaching. I have some queue jumps. Jump on it. You know what I'm saying to you? Just at the queue jump on it. And you can jump right in. I've got some spaces for you guys ahead of time. It costs a little bit more, but it means you get right to the front of the queue, because I'm booked up till November, and I'm probably going to be booked up to January, because once I finish with my clients, I won't be able to stop maybe back in probably to like February, January. So yeah, I want to leave it there for you guys. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, so we'll see you again very, very soon. Much love. Whew, Chile.